think it's inarguable that Vladimir Putin has been a stronger leader in his country than Barack Obama has been in this country. And that's going to change the day that Donald Trump becomes president of the United States of America.
All right, welcome back to the program. I'm Sam Sorbo. That's Pence, Donald Trump's running mate, talking about the comments that Donald made in the forum on Wednesday night that Vladimir Putin is a stronger leader than Barack Obama. He's taken some heat for that. I'm joined now by Diana West. You can find her at dianawest.net. She's the author of American Betrayal. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Sam. Great to be with you.
So Putin is a stronger leader than Obama. Did you find that as offensive as many out there did?
Yes, it's a very strange way to approach world affairs. The Russia question here, and certainly as it concerns the Trump campaign, is how is it that Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, ended up approving the transfer, a sale of 20% of American uranium stocks to Putin's Russia, when we see in this sale period $145 million coming from the directors of the company that was sold, a Canadian company called Uranium One, going into the Clinton Foundation. I mean, this is the Russia story, not what Vladimir Putin said or didn't say, not what kind of hyperbolic statements go between these men in passing. I mean, it's such peripheral stuff. And you know, I'm not Trump's vice president, so I don't have to fool with that kind of a comment. But this is sort of the frustration among Trump supporters who are looking at this and wanting to see more clarity on some of these very, very easy issues. I mean, this is an easy issue. Why isn't the uranium story front and center in this campaign when we're looking at all this media static about Trump having some kind of Russia connection? I mean, there is
bromance.
We can see where the bromance stuff. I don't know if this is the we're smarter than you are, and we're keeping your eye on silly stuff while we're moving along down the line. I don't know, but this is my reaction. It's a bizarre conversation to have, and I it's sort of like not the kind of stuff I want to sit there and tease out. You know what I mean? It's like this is not what this is about or where we are.
I completely agree with you, and I have to say I wasn't offended by his statement that Putin is a stronger leader, because he clearly is a stronger leader. I'm more offended by him saying I think I'm going to get along really great with Putin, and the fact is Pence could very easily have switched this conversation right there when he was giving that interview with Dana Bash and said, Vladimir Putin is a stronger leader. Look, he got 20% of our uranium from Hillary Clinton while she was serving as Secretary of State, and our president did nothing about it. How about that?
Right. No, that's a very good answer. Let's hope that. We'll say one thing. In the idea or this discussion over time about whether Trump will get along better with Putin than whoever, it may not be so crazy in that America is in a very precarious state, security-wise, military-wise. We are tremendously weak and broken at the moment after 15 years of these debilitating wars, the cuts to our defenses, the cuts to our arsenals, our nuclear missile, all these things that have been going on that have put us into this fairly, in some ways, supine state. It is not a bad thing to cut the big talk and the threats. It is not a bad thing. We see on the other side Hillary Clinton saying she's going to war over Russian hacking, supposed hacking or real hacking on a server that's open to the world anyway. I mean, you've got sort of this another big issue, trigger happy versus let's be a little cool, let's be smart. There's nothing wrong with that kind of a message if indeed the strategy is behind it. And that's kind of how I look at that. Let's calm the waters. We're not the big kid on the block at the moment, as strong as we are because of, our resources and our country. But we are not in a good place to be saber rattling.
So I agree with that. I think Hillary Clinton is definitely trigger happy, and she certainly has that reputation now.
Record.
It's becoming increasing.
Yeah.
The record, exactly, and her reputation is increasingly growing in that direction, which I find fascinating, frankly. But my problem is, we were in this position World War II when we joined forces with the communists and said, okay, communism's not that bad. We'll join forces and we'll get along, and then we legitimized them.
Right.
And
Right.
we're basically we're in the process of doing that again.
I don't know what we're in the process. I mean, we've legitimized so many dire threats to our very existence. I mean, just looking, we're coming up on the 15th anniversary of 9/11, and you look at the news of the day. What do you see? The New York Times has a Muslim reporter, going on the Hajj and reporting about it. They're not just reporting on the Hajj, the Islamic pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia. They have a reporter doing an I am there. You have the West Midlands Police of Great Britain today discussing allowing full burqa as part of the police uniform. I mean, so 15 years on 9/11, it's like, what haven't we normalized? We have normalized all manner of threats. We've got certainly the poison of Marxism. We've got the dire threat of Islam. We are unable to even appreciate the concept that there may be hostile enemy forces in the world and inside our own borders that wish to do us in for their own view of world perfection. And this, I think, is the biggest problem facing us. And there's a very big lack of any sort of sweeping view of this or even conception of it, and we end up getting chipping away at very, very micro, like micro dots along the way. And it's a frightening time. And you just kind of watch this election go by and hold your breath.
Nuclear. North Korea just tested another nuke.
Well, there we go. Yes, there we go. There we go. And where is America in terms of its own national security, in terms of its own place in the world? I mean, I think it's very significant. Donald Trump, another thing he points out, which I think he's very smart to point out, the way Obama is disrespected on the world stage, the lack of the red carpet in China, the comments of the Philippine leader, and so on. I mean, these are not small things. This is how international affairs are signaled and laid down. And I mean, this is why, getting back to your point about the Putin comments, there's some that make no sense to me. Like, why are we talking about this in terms of bromance? I mean, it's just so irritating. Right. But then, getting along, it's not, that to me is not a strategic failing so much as a perhaps, and I don't know this, but the way I would play it myself is a reading of being in a very dangerous place as our country is, and not wanting to be Mr. Tough guy, antagonistic, and try to rebuild, which is certainly something that Donald Trump plans to do, which is very, very important. And so that's where I'm 15 years after 9/11.
Yeah, I'm no Pollyanna, but I tend to approach Donald Trump as knowing who he is as a master negotiator. That there's a lot of talk that goes to positioning, and that's what his intention is to position. And so when he says complimentary things about Vladimir Putin, that's part of his negotiation, because he doesn't want to go to war, and he doesn't. And this other thing that he was for the war before he was against it.
Yeah.
I find that so aggravating because he was a private citizen. He actually wasn't gung-ho about the war. His response in the one interview that they keep citing was, well, I guess so. I guess I'm for the war. Do you know what I mean? So to hold him to that and then say that he didn't really come out against the war until it became popular to be against the war is so absurd, when you have somebody, by contrast, who voted for the war, who had all of the information, voted for the war, and now says that the war was a bad thing, was a wrong thing, and that it was pointless. I mean, this is a woman who cannot be held to any standard.
Right. Well, there are no standards when you see somebody who is as consumed by the lust for power as Hillary or Bill Clinton. There is no standard. It's all about just positioning for the moment, in order to capture the soundbite, in order to move forward, in order to get the goal, which is power. I mean, this is why you can watch her in that recent town hall where she suddenly comes up with something brand new, that there was a dedicated secure server at the State Department for confidential information
Right.
that she used for that, whereas her private server was something totally separate. I mean, we all know
See,
that is
this is
fantasy,
why I
but
love
this
you.
is-
This is why I love you. I started this show. I did not hear any pundits talking about that. I started the show with that comment myself.
This is the Sam Sorbo Show.